Well, thank you guys for joining us today in the audience. Appreciate your spending your time with us here. We're going to give people just a 30 seconds to come on in, and then we'll go ahead and we'll kick off. Appreciate that. If you're in the audience, love to get your feedback on the sessions today. And you're welcome to put questions into the chat box. We'll most likely want to answer those after the session, not during the session. We have two investors on the panel that will be asking most of it. Each company that's presenting today will be getting 7 minutes to pitch, 2 to 3 minutes of Q&A from the investors. But love to have your questions as well, and we'll follow up afterwards by email as that goes. And looking forward to your feedback on the session today. Cool. So with that, let's go ahead and meet our investors today. Today we have two great investors that are going to be sitting on the panel and asking the questions. First up is Ansh. Ansh, can you tell us more about yourself and your fund, what you invest in, and what your thesis is?
Absolutely. Thank you, Hall. So myself, Ansh, I'm based off California, West Coast, and we are early stage VCs focusing on startups raising pre-seed, seed, and Series A max. And our mandate is around like 3 areas: healthcare, financial, and retail. So these are all focus areas. And again, we are not a technology investor or industry investor, but where technologies like digital wallet, AI, Internet of Things, and clean tech as well make significant impact on the foundational industries. So we are in kind of in between, making sure it is, and definitely it's not like we are impact investors. So I wanted to clear that out, like we are not impact investors, but we are mostly in conjunction of solid new emerging technologies where they are making significant impact on any industry and solving a problem. So nice to meet you, everybody, and I would love to hear more. Thank you, Hall. Over to you.
Great, thanks, Ansh. And Alex, can you tell us more about yourself and your fund?
Hello, I'm Alex Romero, and I'm Mexico City based, and I'm a co-founder of Lotux VC with my partner Matt. We started 3 years ago, and we invest we're industry agnostic. We invest in pre-seed, and we've made investments in fintech, proptech, and insurtech, some health tech, and that's mostly what we're working in.
Great, thank you for that. So today we're going to have 7 presenters. The first one up is Steve Peterschmidt of Porchlight Health. Steve, why don't you go ahead and turn on your video and load up your slides, and we'll have you kick off. We'll be doing a timing of 7 minutes on each of these. When we get near the end, 30 seconds to the end, I'll just alert you that we're near the end, and you can do a wrap up at that point. So with that, Steve, go ahead and get your video back on, and we'll get the slides going here.
All right. I'm Steve Peterschmidt. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Porchlight Health. Porchlight Health is a digital platform that creates collaboration and helps reduce the cost of senior healthcare by creating community of healthcare providers, community-based organizations, and family in support of seniors in their home. All right, the underlying problem that we solve is the fact that there is financial pressure coming into the senior healthcare industry and into the healthcare industry in general. The demographics define that this industry is doubling and that there's really no existing way to cover those costs with the existing tax base. The biggest opportunity that sits in there is that $65 billion of that healthcare population can be, and care can actually be virtualized and moved into the home. And that means that these are healthcare costs, these are addressing the social determinants of health, and these are also engaging and overcoming the isolation problems that seniors face just in their everyday life. There's 2 main challenges that the industries are dealing with in trying to basically understand and solve these problems. The root causes are, 2 out of 3 seniors struggle to be able to use technology in a way that they can advocate and support their own health. And then the second one is the addition of just numerous small applications, has created fragmentation, inefficient communication that actually adds inefficiency in the system instead of helping resolve really where the macro problems of how do you streamline and leverage communication for the benefit of those healthcare providers. And then also, how do you actually leverage that communication to create new efficiencies instead of exacerbating existing inefficiencies. What Porchlight does is we step in and we solve this by, I'm trying to boot my screen here. There we go. We solve the underlying communication problem that exists. And first and foremost, that's you have to give every senior a digital voice. And that means more than just technology. That means that you have to understand their needs, make sure they have technology, high-speed internet connectivity. And in most cases, that means providing somebody that can actually go into the home and support that. This is a pivot of those high cost, away from high cost resources into lower cost resources. The second component is you have to understand how they're doing in their daily life. And so you have to create a way to generate very high levels of engagement. And really at the end of the day, it's this user engagement in their home, in their everyday life. That's the differentiator. And then last, you have to create a platform that enables people to actually interact together. You have to consolidate communication and you have to overcome the data silos that create inefficiencies across the system. Porchlight created a service and technology platform that addresses and resolves these three key components of the underlying problem. We create a very unique engagement experience for each of the primary groups, whether that's the patient or client, and not only giving them a way to interact with healthcare providers, but making that the same way that they interact with their family members and other community-based resources, and do that with the support of somebody in their home. We give the family members, again, that social connection, the ability to have a reason and create a way to create this high engagement that's the foundation. And then last, you have to create a way for the actual clinical care or care managers to understand and manage, and intervene when that's important. So, what Porchlight's been able to do is generate over 168,000 interactions on our platform in the last year in a small sample. We have 2 customers today, and that includes 29,000 assessments that we do to understand how they're doing and why. And then that is what drives our artificial intelligence that starts to create efficiency across the system. The key, really, again, it's all about engagement. And the more engagement you have, the more data you have, the more access you have. And our engagement is order of magnitude more than the other competitors because we're in their lives on a daily basis. The market size is big and growing. Our market entry point is actually with post-acute care right now, and it's spread across the post-acute care market from living situations as well as the actual care environments as well. And I'll show you that pipeline in just a second. We have a B2B sales model and a recurring subscription model as well that's paid by the providers because they have the largest financial incentive for the benefit that we provide. Here's a quick look at our pipeline. I won't go into it in detail other than that we've got a couple customers. The ask that we're looking for right now helps expand with those existing customers. And then we've got a behavioral health pilot that's starting. And then we've got an in-home primary healthcare pilot that's starting with a chain. A couple other really interesting developments. We're talking to a couple of the largest home care and hospice providers in the country. We don't have commitments yet, but we're in multiple conversations. We're going to be looking at a demo potentially with the second largest senior living facility organization in the United States as well. So a lot of really interesting opportunities building the pipeline. Let me see if I can change that. I won't go into, again, the team in detail, but we've got an experienced team that, has raised tens of millions of dollars of revenue in this space already. And again, from myself, having sold a company, the 4th largest home care agency, to a couple other folks. Our raise right now is we're asking for $850,000. We've raised 250 of that. And what that gets us is really, like I said, it's growth within our existing customer base. It's closing out the 2 pilots that we have today. And then it's helping mature that pipeline so that we can get 10 to $20 million of committed revenue coming out of exiting this next 6 to 8 months. And then last thing, I know we're over just a touch. Last thing, Hall, is just that where we're moving with this, is that we're looking for a Series A in Q1 of next year. That should be in the $8 million range and should get us into a, somewhere between a 30 and $40 million revenue ARR number.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Great presentation. Alex, why don't you go first? What questions do you have?
From the money you're trying to raise, like how much of it would be like focused on trying to raise the ARR?
So the intent of this money right now is to get through the pilots. So the majority of the money is really about some more of the operational expansion. We've succeeded at the small level or smaller customers. This is developing the operation of our first levels of scale. And so it's in-home primary care. They're spread across 15 different states. And so part of what we're doing with this, or the majority of this money, goes towards buttoning up a couple of our executive level positions and then really building out the operation. The scale and the ARR comes in the Series A in Q1 of next year.
Great. Anj, what questions did you have?
Yep, perfect. So I have a couple of questions. So one of them is, I mean, I didn't saw it in your slide as competitor landscape. Steve, do you have any, or have you thought about it?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty fractured competitive landscape. So there's some really interesting companies that are coming in, like Papa Health right now, that they are probably the biggest competitor we have. And they're a, whatever they are, $1.6 billion valuation. They're just further ahead than we are, but they're solving the problem in a very similar way. And that what they do is they send a resource into the senior's home before they're having a healthcare crisis, to start to generate an understanding of how that person is doing. And so they're somebody that's very close. There's all sorts of other companies that are approaching this from a healthcare space, but what you lose in the healthcare space is that you're only relevant to them in a crisis. So yeah, I mean, we've got, sort of dozens of competitors that really are solving in that we are. Unite Us is another company that social determinants, similar position to us.
Okay. And another thing was, Steve, around the use of funds, right? I mean, you are raising seed. The deck I have is kind of a little different from what you were showing. So use of funds, I mean, again, I'm just asking here. I mean, if you can share with us later, that is fine too.
Yeah. So if I understand your question correctly, it's like what use or what technology do we have in place, and how does the investment all of
the use of funds, like, I mean, once you raise the seed money, how you will allocate it to product, to marketing, how you have differentiated into buckets.
Yeah, and I can actually give you a very specific breakdown of it, but it's there's a product manager, so there's 2 positions that we have to hire for. It's like somewhere between 50 and 60% goes towards operations. And then there's a minority that goes towards, it's more product development, and Series A would be the actual product expansion. But our model's solid, our product's rock solid. It's about the funds go in towards scaling the operation so that when we hit Series A, we already have that buttoned up. And then it's just a matter of growing the team model from 1 team to 5 or 10 within that first year. So it's a delivery and execution component.
Great.
And I can answer that more in detail through an email or something.
Great. Thank you, guys. Those are good questions and good pitch. Appreciate you guys doing that. Next up, we have Neil Gupta. Neil, can you go ahead and show your slides? And whenever you're ready to kick off, you have 7 minutes to pitch.
Great. Thanks, Hall, and thanks, 10 Capital. I'm just going to share my screen. Hello to everyone. So I'm with a company called Kiwi Tech, one of the co-founders. We have built something which what we call a unique model for cashless investing in tech startups, and I'll walk you through quickly. So our management team, my brother and I are the main founders. Our earlier company, which was a content BPO, we scaled to 5,000 people. It peaked at $1 billion. We sold it for 144 million. Unfortunately, we missed kind of the window of the exit, but it was a decent exit. And we were investing in tech startups. And along the way, after investing in about 40 companies, we found there's a common pain point of outsourcing technology. We started helping them with it and stumbled upon this model really of building tech for equity. We're funded by family offices to the tune of about $45 million. We're raising another 20 now. We may cut that down to 10 because we have an asset sale that might, lead us to about 10 million proceeds. So we might only raise around 10 now for acquisitions. Our board members are also family offices. Dan Rizzo is the co-founder of a $7.3 billion public company, which was taken private last year, Novolon. Vipin Agrawal is the co-founder of a biotech company, which went public for $1 billion. Very successful family offices in our network. So what we do is we do something called the Y Combinator model using software development. So instead of mentorship for equity, we build technology for equity. And the secret sauce is right here out of the whole deck. If I run out of time, this is the most important part of it. We build half of the project for equity. So if it starts outsourcing $500,000 of tech work, essentially we'll say, look, we'll invest $250,000 in you, and we'll just take $250,000 in cash and $250,000 as fair market value warrants. So they're saving $250,000 that they would pay to another software developer, which they love. Then we plug them into an ecosystem of events, venture fairs, demo days, family office panels, things like that. We've had over 100 events a year, 106 last year. Premier panelists like Koch family, Forbes, DuPont family offices, NEA, Edison Partners, great panelists, and we have startups pitching after these events. So it's a great place for investors to find deal flow, startups to meet investors, and we don't take any economics on either side because we are benefiting from these startups being successful. So huge amount of deal flow. As you can see, we have 700 people in the company, 65, almost 10% in sales and marketing, which reach out to startups, tell them about our model. So we met with 5,300 startups last year, looked at close to 3,000 deals to invest in 85 companies. So we're up to about 530 portfolio companies right now, I believe, scaling to 1,000 across all industries. This is just some of our best startups out of the 500 some. Couple of exits we've had. Puzzle Social sold to Zynga. This other company, League Network, was acquired. Couple of IPOs coming up. Rally, one IPO earlier this year, is de-SPACing process later this year, and they expect to have 30 million in the bank after that, after the redemptions. They have a guarantee from a private equity firm for the 30 million for acquisitions. Hungary, that looks like it should go public in the near future, and if it does, and the bankers say 2 to 5 billion valuation, we got in at 8 million, so we're expecting 100x on this in the next 12 to 24 months. Yeah, so what we're doing now, the capital being raised is for acquisitions. So we've done a couple of them. which have tripled in a year. So we acquired a finance and accounting firm from a VC that works with VC-backed startups. We acquired a crowdfunding marketing company that works with startups, and they've tripled either their revenue or their EBITDA with us in a matter of a year. So we want to do another 4 or 5 acquisitions to leverage our ecosystem further. And these are all services companies. So not the SaaS companies where we're getting, 5-6% for development services. These are 100% subsidiary companies that we acquired to provide services to our portfolio, and not just our portfolio, but if you go back here, these 5,300 companies we're meeting with that want to work with us, but maybe there's not a match on the technology side, or we don't think it's a good fit, but they would pay for other services that we may offer, and those are 100% cash services which generate cash flow for us. So our financials this year, we're expecting to do about 63 million. Now that includes our in-kind revenue. So our cash component's about 19, and that our costs are about 21, but there's some non-cash expenses here. So we're just about break even this year. In 2 years with our current model, we'll be generating about $10 million of cash EBITDA, plus get about $75 million of in-kind equity. So that's how we're scaling over the next couple of years. Our acquisitions are basically geared towards levering up our cash EBITDA to 25 million in 2 years. And this is the year we're planning to exit 2024 if the markets agree with us. And we have a couple of options for investment. One is a convertible note. It pays an 8% cash dividend, 2% a quarter. And we have a debt instrument that pays a 12% cash dividend and 6% PIK. And they're both maturing in 2 years with 2 year, 1 year extensions in case there's a pullback in the market. So that's us. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Neil. Ansh, let's start with you. What questions did you have?
Just one thing over the top, Neil. I mean, cashless is, you mean digital currencies? Can you elaborate on that?
Okay. So the reason we say cashless investment model is because we're not writing checks for this equity stakes. So, we're getting $250,000 of equity for essentially giving up our profit on a software development project. So we have 50% margins. So, instead of taking the whole $500,000 for a project, we'll take $250,000 in cash, cover our costs, and the other $250,000 will take as fair market value warrants. So that's why we call it cashless, because we're not writing checks for these stakes.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Great. Alex, what questions did you have?
I have several questions. The investment opportunity slide, you talk about the exit strategy. Can you elaborate more on it, please?
Yes. So, I mean, we have obviously a couple options to exit at the scale we're going to have at that point in 2024. It could be in a sale to, company like IBM or one of the offshore services companies like Wipro, Infosys, or it could be a consultancy like Accenture, Capgemini, or it could be an IPO. We think if we're generating 25 million in cash, we should be IPO-able business. And also a projection, just for your information, does not include exits. We expect to, we don't want to project out our exits because that's just hard to do. But, we have a couple of companies lining up for exits, and over the next, I would say 24 to 36 months, we're looking at between $50 to $100 million in cash proceeds from our exits alone, which are not baked into our financials because that's something that, from a regulatory perspective, I don't think it'd be wise to do that. But yeah, but the plan is to sell the whole business, Kiwi Tech and its portfolio, in 2 years.
Great. Any follow-up question there, Ansh or Alex? We have time for one.
I'm good.
I had another question about when you said that you were planning on growing the cash revenue growth, like exactly what
right.
like.
So right now with our current model, right to this year about break even, but in 2 years we should generate about $10 million of cash EBITDA. So that means we'll get all the in-kind, equity, but we'll also generate cash of 10 million. So what we want to do is acquire about $5 or $6 million of EBITDA this year, which would grow to about 15 million in 2 years. So that means we want to try to get to $25 million cash EBITDA in 2 years.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Neil. Appreciate that. And thank you guys for the questions. We will go on to our next presenter, which is going to be Jake Marmelstein at Groundbreaker. Jake, you want to go ahead and share your slides?
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Jake Marmelstein, founder and CEO of Groundbreaker. And I started my real estate investment career underwriting distressed hotels and faced the day in, day out challenges and frustrations of the problems that we're solving with Groundbreaker. And I met my business partner in Puerto Rico through an accelerator program. He was working at BuzzFeed, came over from Warby Parker, and he's my right-hand man on the technology side to set things up. So the problem that we solve is that the real estate investment process is complex. We're an individual investor trying to get access to deal information, and for a sponsor who's having to herd 20 or 30 different investors into a real estate syndication. It's time consuming, it's not very transparent, and it's hard for the GP or the sponsor to keep track of everything. So we streamline that process and make it easy for investors, we make it easy for sponsors. We help to do this with a software as a service application that they can buy off the shelf from us and deploy with their own company branding, where they have an investor portal and a general partner portal to manage everything. We cut down on deal time by 80 hours for every deal. And we help to save countless hours of frustration from both sides. And also we save the company money that they would otherwise spend on just hiring more admins and more people to push paper. So the product is fully built out and customers are using it. It's a GP portal for the admin and the end user who buys it, which is a real estate deal sponsor doing deals. And then their investors log into their investor portal. The focus in the market for Groundbreaker is on the small partnerships and small teams. These groups don't have, they have the expertise in order to do deals, but they don't have the efficiency and they don't have the structure in place. And they're not big enough where they can just hire a team of developers to develop this for them or throw people at it. They're small, and then the Groundbreaker software off the shelf is highly valuable resource for them. So at our core, we're a investment management software, okay? But I want you guys to understand the big vision here too. We're collecting a ton of data and information and developing customer relationships where we are building on top of that a layer of capital and professional services. So we have deal flow, we have customers buying our software. Now we're building on the capabilities to actually get in the deals and make transactional revenue, which is the big vision and the destination where we want to take Groundbreaker. So right now it's a $3 billion market for real estate syndication software. That's growing to a $30 billion market in the next 5 years as we add in capital and professional services. Our revenue model today is $3,000 to $4,000 for the software, $12,000 our customers paying for staff augmentation services, where we provide a next level of support of customer service for firms that are expanding and they need help. And then we also offer debt and equity capital services, where, as I was saying, we get into the deal, providing access to capital, and we take a fee for doing that, like a broker would. The community around real estate syndication is very tight knit. So we have a tremendous amount of word of mouth, SEO. We're getting referrals from affiliates like lawyers and accountants, and people using our product are bringing in co-sponsors as well, partners of theirs to do deals and spin up portals of their own. We did 1.3 billion of capital transacted last year in deals funded. We're over $1 billion this year, $700 million out last year. We're almost over that amount already this year. And we are at 430K ARR with 150 customers with a right about 4x CAC to LTV ratio. We have 85% logo retention, 95% net revenue retention. You could draw a line to us having 90 to 95% logo retention towards the end of this year and early next year as we develop more features for those small teams that are getting to a higher level of sophistication. And we're selling to customers in our ICP. So we're not selling as many to the beginners that we're causing some of that churn. And we're focusing on the solo professionals and small teams that are sticking with the sticky product that we already have and that it's a fit for. The way that we've gone is that since 2020 we launched, and we've been refining the solution so that we make it adequate for those solo GPs and small teams. And now we're scaling at 10 new customers a month just through organic SEO. Oops. So where are we going forward? With this round of capital, our destination is really to have a programmatic capital marketplace up and running, where we have 3,000 deals on the platform. We're doing deals with our customers, adding equity into their deals, and we have a product-led approach to customer acquisition. So we're scaling our customer base up from 150 to 700 within 24 months. We have a product that people can trial and use off the shelf. We have robust features that'll keep solo professionals on the software as they expand into small teams, and we're allocating capital to their deals, which is going to be a sustainable competitive advantage for Groundbreaker against any other competitor. Which goes into my next slide, showing Groundbreaker in this investment marketplace, combining the core software of workflow efficiency with the staff augmentation, the professional services, and the capital placement into an offering that is unique and unparalleled in today's market. As far as the team, I come with a real estate domain expertise. My partner on the tech side, Ryan, is managing everything technical, everything product. And we have an engineering manager. Underneath him is 8 senior software engineers. And our head of growth, Brad, has worked with product-led companies and helped grow brands such as 1Password and other companies that have already scaled successfully. And our investors are real estate tech investors as well as customers. So for our ask, we're looking for 4 million. The use of funds is going to be 45% sales and marketing, 40% product, and the rest G&A and support. Our support costs are not much. We operate on an 80% gross margin right now. And so we feel that this use of funds will get us to where we need to be on the product side, while also giving us the firepower to roll out customer acquisition strategies that we're currently not tapping into. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Jake. Right on time. Alex, what questions did you have?
Can you speak more about like other companies and competitors that are similar in a way?
Yeah, I can. So I have a detailed competitive analysis for that if you guys want to dig in. But as far as just bringing up a slide for that. So we have these 2 direct competitors here that are InvestNext and Syndication Pro. And then we have some more upmarket competitors, Appfolio and Agora. The difference between Groundbreaker and all the other customers or all the other competitors is our pricing model and our ease of use and the way that we're going to market. Groundbreaker's price is not based on the amount of equity that the customers have on the platform. It stays the same price. Because of our philosophy of aggregating deal flow, we want customers to give us all their data as much as possible. Our software is also a lot easier since it's a more newer product and set up to be product led. Whereas any of the competitor solutions are a little bit more clunky. They're doing a sales led approach where you have to do a demo to be able to buy the software. And most of the solo GPs and small teams are fairly entrepreneurial. So they want to be able to try a product, use it, and then buy it. And currently there's really no winner, no dominant brand in the space. Does that help answer your question? As far as funding goes, this competitor has raised 20 million Series A. So we know that there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of capital available in the space. There's a lot of interest in the space from investors.
Great. Anj, what questions did you have?
Yep. Thanks, Paul. So I have two questions, Jake, for you. So can you give me some examples? Who is the end user of this software?
So yeah, it's like a real estate operator would be maybe a group of 2-3 partners that are taking down a real estate deal. They'll buy a 150 unit multifamily deal in Austin, Texas, and it'll be an acquisition. They're going to renovate it. They're going to rent it up, and then hold it for 5 years and sell it. And they're going to syndicate the equity for that deal to a bunch of individual investors who they have relationships with, friends, family, credit investors.
So only real estate agents, is that fair to call out?
Real estate investment professionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, great. And my last question is, why you have kept this software only pertaining to real estate? Because there are a lot of softwares that helps manage fund and raise fund and kind of also did communication between your LPs and investors. So why are you just keeping this software to real estate?
Well, the reason is because if we go vertical with what we're doing, in a sense, building on top of the real estate investment thesis to invest in real estate, then we have a concentration of real estate deal sponsors and real estate deals to match an investment thesis of investing into those assets. And that's more focused and concentrated to be able to achieve that big vision than if we spread it out across multiple asset classes and multiple different investment theses therein.
Okay, fair. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jake. Great presentation. Let's ask our next presenter to come up, J.R. Guerrera of Ninja. J.R., go ahead and show your slides and kick off.
Hello, how are you? Very nice to see everyone. I'll go ahead and turn my video off after I say hello to everyone.
Great.
J.R. Guerrera, the CEO of Ninja. So Ninja is a collaboration platform that combines a lot of tools. So if Slack, WhatsApp, WeChat, Dropbox had a baby, it would be called Ninja. So it's mobile first, and you could do everything from your mobile that you can do from your desktop. We've had now we're at about 2 million downloads, 750,000 subscribers, 80,000 monthly active users, and we're gaining about 1,500 new users per day. It's fintech integration to a workstream collaboration platform. So our motto is connect, collaborate, and get paid. Basically, what we're doing here is we're putting people together, collaborators together, influencers together to be able to monetize off of their content. So we facilitate the content of these creators, and we do it without advertising. There was a small little company one day, and they says, you know what, we're going to go up against the networks, and the network says, oh my God, you mean you're going to have somebody pay for your content when we give it away for free? And that company was HBO. So it's the same kind of thing. Instead of having your stuff be on YouTube and on Facebook and have people get inundated with advertisements, this is basically a private network where you could market your stuff on those social media channels, but then drive people to your own private groups, whether it's a VIP group or it's a individual free group, and you can sell your paid content on there. So with that, we have the platform that is able to send large files, transfers, do audio and video conferencing, hold webinars, everything that a content creator now is using about 3 or 4 different tools to do. Everything is combined into the Ninja platform. The problem is there are millions of content creators out there, and only a handful are really making any money from the mainstream social media channels. Ours is the solution. It's a real game changer for those millions and millions of content creators and influencers that don't have millions and millions of followers and are not making money from any of their content. So market size is about 104 billion. How do we go to market? Basically, we have a no-touch digital marketing campaign. That's the primary source of letting people know about our platform. We have a seasoned leadership team David Joden, Todd Benelo, and myself. We've been in and out of more than 100 exits. I'm in and out more than over $100 million in exits. The competition is basically broken up into a lot of small competitors built in the collaboration area and the monetization area, but nothing puts everything together the way Ninja does. And you can see that we just have more. Ninja has all these feature sets into one platform. Our competitive advantage is that we do combine everything into one platform and that we have seamless fintech. So you can pay somebody anywhere on the planet with our built-in wallet, which you can pay in crypto, you can do PayPal, traditional credit card payments, but being able to pay people directly from them, they could just basically pay for the content that they want. We have, of course, IP protection on this. Some of our milestones we hit. We monetize in two different ways. We monetize by a subscription, and then we monetize by and I'll show you here, monetize by transaction fees. So if one of our content creators is selling a product for $10, $1.99, $9.99, they sell it to them and we take a 18% transaction fee. Here are some of projections, and I'll get into it. We're on target for about 2.4 million this year. And then I'll get into the projections later on in more detail if you guys are interested. Reasons to invest, experienced management team, which, you know, I've been at 5 different startups and exited. It's always the management team that could get it across the line. You could have a great product and you can't go anywhere with it. You need a seasoned management team to really get it across the line. We do have market fit. It's fully functional and the product is on the market currently. And it's built for this remote work. It's built for the here and now and for the future. Our offering is $3 million for 8.5%. We have a pre-money valuation of 22%. And that's basically most of it. And what am I at? How many minutes? So I got a
Did
2
well
more
on the
minutes.
time. Thanks. Thank you for that, Jared. Good presentation. And let's go to our investors. Ansh, let's start with you. What did you think? What questions did you have?
Yep, thanks, Hall. So one question for you is, I mean, this is kind of a very crowded space, and what I'm understanding is anybody can subscribe to this and be the content producer. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And we do it in two different, we do it in two
Go ahead,
different.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. No. The answer to you is yes.
So, I mean, and there are many players in this space, right? It's a very crowded space. So what is that differentiator that you have? And I see that you are kind of making money on it. There is some traction, so that's a good thing. And you are all onboarding a lot of users monthly. So what is that differentiator?
So the differentiator is that there are, I wouldn't say a lot, because how it's fractioned, it's basically all mixed up. You might have 10 players and competitors that do one thing, and then another 10 that do something else. We're one of the only platforms that's giving you a seamless platform to deliver content, get paid, have all the collaboration tools and features under one roof. Real simple. I'm a guitar teacher and I want to reach out to X amount of people. I want to do 20 people, 20 students and do it. I have to do a webinar software, or I got to do Zoom, or I got to do something like that. But then when that group goes away and the Zoom gets closed, all the people are gone. There's no groups. There's nothing survives, right? So ours is creating a community and being able to do those teachings and have them pay as they do the teachings, and also upload them aftermarket and give them paid content the next day if there's some new lick that I do or some new teaching that I do, whatever it is, fly fishing, and I'm showing you how to wind a lure. So the whole difference is ours is the entire platform has all these tools that you're using right now today from 5 different companies under one roof, including the payment platform.
Okay. And there is no advertisement on this, right? And everything is for sale. Any content that is produced is not free, correct?
Well, you could, so in this, you have a couple different ways to do it. You can put free content up, and then if there's something that's really premium that you want to charge for, and people say, wow, I've been following your free content, I do want to pay for that special content because I believe this one's worth $1.09. So you have the ability to do both.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Alex,
You're
what
welcome.
questions did you have?
What is the feedback that you've been getting from users?
We have users that are, one user I met last night says, I can't wait to get on your platform. He's like, I have 20 years of CCD teaching lessons and I can't do anything with them. I want to sell them for $1.99. What do? I can't sell them on YouTube. I can't sell them on all these other social media. So our users are saying, wow, this is really a valuable platform for us. So they love it. And this was an older gentleman who's not so social media tech savvy. He was able to just get on instantly. It's very easy to use. It's out of the box software, so you don't have to configure anything. You just create a chat group and start selling content. You get up and running in about 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you guys for your questions, and thank JR for the presentation. Really good job there. Next up is Mark Raymond of Lumenco. Mark,
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks. Mark, go ahead and show your slides and let's kick off when you get ready.
Hey guys,
Howdy.
I'm Mark Raymond. This is Tyler Kappas here. We are not a SaaS company, so we actually have products, and we'll go ahead and run through and as quickly as we can and see if you guys can get the idea here. Okay, we're Lumenco. We're not a startup. We've been around about 9 years. We've kind of been considered pre-revenue until just lately, and I'll go into that in just a second. I'm going to start my stopwatch here. So we're a micro-optic company, and we are involved in a number of different technologies, and then those technologies provide unique products for the market. We mainly play in patented technologies only, and many of our technologies, after years of development, are just getting out there. So we have new technologies in solar, we have currency anti-counterfeiting, brand protection, electromagnetic shielding, LED lighting, so a variety of areas where we have technologies. So this is the basic team: myself, my co-founder Hector Porras, Michael German, and Tyler Kappas here. So as I said, we only play in protected technologies. So we have over 40 patents issued that probably cover 6-8 different products, but a lot of the patents are worldwide. So we have partners in Europe and so forth, and we'll get into that in just a second. So as I said, we're experts in creating microstructures. We write our own software. We wish we had software that we could sell. That'd be great, but we don't. But these software packages are in optics, and the technologies are of our own design and are patented. So for instance, we have licensees in currency, we have licensees in lighting and brand protection. And then we're looking to commercialize technologies. This is why we're moving toward raising funds to be able to do that, because we've only done one initial fundraise when we started the company about 9 years ago, and we cash flowed. We did one other fundraise, it was really more of a licensing deal in 2014. So real quickly, we'll go into currency, and just so you guys know what we're talking about. We're a micro-optic company, so you guys are familiar with the $100 bill and the micro-optic thread. That's Crane Currency. They're about $1 billion. The division for currency is about $1 billion. We're the only other company in the space that has freedom to operate with that type of technology, a micro-optic technology. So when we got started as a small company, we realized that nobody was going to take us seriously. Here in Englewood, Colorado, the whole brotherhood of currency is, there's about a half dozen companies in this area worldwide. And so we were able to create a partnership, a joint venture with Koenig and Bauer. And they are the company that makes 95% of the equipment that prints currency. So then through that joint venture, we licensed KERS with our technology. And that technology, one of those technologies is kilogram dynamic that we just developed for them. And now they're taking it out to market. We're testing for the $20 bill this fall. If we do get that particular banknote, that equates to about $100 million in revenue, royalty revenue, no costs for Lemenko over the next 10 years. So that's in process now. Remember, this didn't happen overnight. It took 8-9 years. We have new technologies also in solar, and they were kind of born out of the technologies that we created for currency. And this is kind of it's a big initiative for us, and we're really targeting being in the marketplace with this new product in 2023. So the new product that we have is called Cold Fusion. Half of it's been tested at NREL, the other half we're still gearing up to test at NREL as soon as we can. But what it is, it's an enhancement product that's made in the same way that we make our currency anti-counterfeiting features. And it's designed to go on top of a solar panel and also inside new solar panels. It improves silicon solar panel efficiency by up to 35%, more in areas where there's more heat. So there's about 92 billion solar panels worldwide. As you guys know, it's growing very quickly. And really where we're going is we will have films that enhance the production of the panels by 35% at a cost of about 10 cents a watt. So this is the lowest cost solar product available in a way. And we're really focused on that retrofit market with direct sales through the installers, and we're partnering with companies in that area. So overall, just to recap, there's a lot of different things here. It's hard to present our company in a short period of time. In our brand protection area, we have customers like Diageo, the largest liquor company in the world, Colgate. We had a contract with the Federal Reserve on and off for 6 years to develop anti-counterfeiting features. And obviously, as I just said, we're testing in Switzerland with our joint venture partners for the US banknote here shortly, among other banknotes, of course. And that sales force we don't have to worry about it. That ship sailed, that's moving along. They're the biggest in the world. They're in 100 countries. We don't have to do anything there. We're just along for the right end. Also, we support them technically. In the lighting area, we have a new licensee, Bixby International, a 100-year-old extrusion company. We license patents in there. So some of these deals, we get minimum guarantees and royalties, and then extra royalties for sales. We have manufacturing now in Mexico, and that we just moved our equipment down there for the brand protection area, and that's where we're operating. So for our raise, it's we're doing a $3 million convertible at a 10% interest rate, a 20 to 30% discount based on how much the investment is. And that equates, as you go through the math for us, it equates to about an $18 to $20 million valuation for the current company, which is only about $2 million in revenue, but we don't lose money. That's it.
Great. Thanks for that, Mark. Good presentation. Let's start off with Alex. Alex, what questions did you have?
The money that you're planning to raise, what are you gonna use it for?
Yeah, it's, in a broad kind of statement, it's commercialization of a few technologies. One is a solar product, one that we didn't go into much up here, it's electromagnetic shielding. It takes the same equipment to do that. And what we want to do is not just be a licensing company, but we want to be in the food chain a little bit more, because these products have an 80 to 90% profit margin. And so we want to be the manufacturer of record, meaning we'll do some things in-house, but most of it will be outsourced. And we want to market our products, take them to market, and participate in the profits, not just an 8% royalty, as we're getting in lighting and some of the brand protection stuff that we're doing. Not all, but some.
Great, thanks. Ansh, what questions did you have?
So yeah, thanks for the presentation, Mark. I kind of heard initially when you started is that this company is in the market for a while. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. We are just getting to market now.
Okay.
It's literally, and the frustrating thing, and Hall's listened to this message a few times. It's taken 8-9 years to really get a foothold in the currency industry. And then, for instance, our partners have spent more than $10 million commercializing our technologies and getting them ready for the market for governments. So this has been kind of our, it's been very difficult. Now, along the way, we took a lot of these technologies and developed new things for other markets, and that's kind of where we are. So we're just coming to market. The revenue now that we have, the hard work's done mostly, we just need to get out to market. The revenue that we have now is primarily some guarantee revenue for licenses and research and development and support. But it's been sufficient for us to be positive cash flow. So our real revenue starts in the next few years as these products really hit the market, because they're not in the market yet.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I think because I was just thinking, because you already are in market for 10 years, about a decade, so why you now need the money to expand or to do whatever? But that makes sense. I think you are just launching it, and you need funds for it, so makes sense. That's
yeah,
it.
the IP road and the testing and getting getting governments on board, it's taking a long time. We're finally there now, but we really, really want to get these other products out that we've developed and make a lot more money doing so.
Right. And again, you're not doing something simple or easy. It's kind of complicated in a way. So I get it. Thank you.
You bet.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the presentation. Next up is going to be Pressured Biosciences. Rick, if you're ready, go ahead and load up your slides and let's hear about your deal.
All right, so this is going to be a little bit different. I'm a publicly traded company, so again, we need to make sure that everybody. Oh, there we go. We got to make sure. So please do your homework before thinking about investing. That's what the lawyers tell me to do. I am not going to go through a lot of the background of the people. Myself, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started 4 publicly traded companies over the last 20 years. They've done. First 3 did very well. They're about $1 billion in market cap. This is a life science company that I've been working on for some time. We made a major pivot, as Hall knows, earlier this year. We're very excited about the pivot that we're making, and so I'm about to talk about that. We have 30 patents and 3 major technology platforms. I won't spend any time on pressure cycling technology or Barrowful. They're very exciting and have a great future with us. We do right now about $2 million. We have 350 customers around the world, including Merck, Lilly, Pfizer, Monsanto, Bristol Myers Squibb, the FBI, the FDA, the CDC, the Karolinska Institute, the Paul Ehrlich Institute in Germany, etc. Those are discussions of a different time. We've pivoted to put about 95% of our effort into our 3rd technology platform. It's called Ultra Shear Technology, or UST, and we have 7 issued patents in the area of UST. I have 14 people, and I'd say 13 of them at this point. We're mostly all engineers and scientists, and we're pretty much all focused on ultra shear technology. So the first thing we have to learn is, what is an emulsion? Very simply, it's 2 or more liquids that get put together that don't mix well together. The best example would be oil and water. Oil and water don't mix, as we know. And because of that, there's issues throughout our life every day, because there's thousands of products that are made of emulsions. Our raspberry vinaigrette, our milk, yogurt. So many things are emulsions. We have emulsions that are in pharmaceuticals. 44% of all new drug candidates are made of oil. So how do you get that active ingredient out of the oil? Health and wellness products, vitamins, supplements, cosmetics, agrochem, and food and beverage. We have emulsions everywhere we go. And the problem is that most of these emulsions have very poor water solubility because we're mixing oil with water. So if the active ingredient, if the vitamin D3 or the prednisone is in an oil and we're putting it in water and we're trying to deliver it to a patient or to a consumer, we may not get much of that active ingredient out because it's in oil. Our bodies are water-based. We're going to excrete the oil as quickly as we can, long before we're able to absorb the oil. There's poor stability in current oil and water and emulsions, and poor what we call bioavailability. As I mentioned, our body is trying to get the active ingredient out, the supplement, the vitamin, the nutraceutical, whatever out of it. But we're also trying to get rid of the oil from our body as quickly as possible. The solution is what we call nano emulsions, making the oil so small that it actually effectively goes into water and therefore gets transported throughout the body. And because it's so small, the body's able to pull out the active ingredient. So the answer is in nano emulsions. We've developed a technology called ultra shear technology. This is an instrument, and the instrument makes the emulsions very highly stable, water soluble. They're basically oil and water nano emulsions. We take the oil glob and we break it down into tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of oil droplets. So we spread that active ingredient, that vitamin D3, that CBD or THC, that prednisone, whatever it is, we spread it among tens of millions or hundreds of millions of tiny nano-sized oil droplets, and it's able to be absorbed much more quickly. And the bioavailability goes from less than 20% to greater than 80% using a true nano emulsion. It also extends the shelf life and has many other advantages to it by making a nano emulsion. These oil droplets are actually smaller than a bacterium, to give you an idea of how small they are. We have 7 issued patents, including 2 in the US in our nano emulsion technology. I'm not going to get into a lot of science here. What's important is you see 2 different graphs. You see the purple graph. This is as you go through, as you take a run through the machine. We have a machine, it costs about $500,000 for us to make. As you put the oil in the water, then you mix it and you put it through the machine. Every time you run through the machine, we break the oil, we shear the oil down. We go to very high pressure, about 3 times the pressure of the Marianas Trench. And we put it through this patented valve that shears the oil, that oil glob, into tens of millions or hundreds of millions of tiny little nano-sized oil droplets. We don't adversely affect the active ingredient that's in the oil. We're basically taking it and making much surface area. So in pharmaceutical, you can see prednisone, after
there, Rick.
12 cycles, we were able to bring it down to what we call 20 nanometers, smaller, a fifth the size of a bacterium. But the red line going up gives you the transparency. So the material, which is opaque to begin with, it gets very clear as you break the oil down. So the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, we did curcumin. Curcumin is a supplement that's extremely widely used now. We also have cosmeceuticals and agrochemicals. This is astaxanthin. You can see in the middle of the screen with the oil floating on top with the water underneath it. After it's gone through our system, it becomes very clear and it becomes very, very, very soluble in water, and therefore can be absorbed. Same thing with CBD. And you can see the difference. The one on the left is the normal CBD oil that others are using. The one on the right is that same CBD oil after going through about 9 to 10 cycles on our instrument, becomes clear. The oil is very small and it becomes very bioavailable. I know I'm running out of time here, Hall, so I'll finish up in about 1 minute, if I may. So we've had a number of things that have happened. We've announced 3 contracts that start next month, the month of October. These are contracts that are worth at least $1 million a piece for next year. We're doing pilot runs in October through December. We're doing the large manufacturing runs in January. We have the equipment ready. We have the people. We're ready to start doing this for and tolling. So we're going to CBD and manufacturers and astaxanthin manufacturers, and we're going to manufacture their material and send them back liters and liters and liters of material that is perfectly clear. And now it's bioavailable. They'll put them into their own samples. They'll white label it. We start next month. We start with these 3 contracts. Our sales to date with our other technologies are about $2 million a year. We've announced $5 million next year. We've announced that we believe we can do twice that from the contracts that are coming on. So that means, you know, we're going to go from 2 million to roughly 10 to 12 million next year. And we've also done a deal in cosmetics with Dr. Adrienne Denese. She's sold $500 million of cosmetics on QVC. We're meeting with her next week for our first meeting after we signed the agreement 3 or 4 weeks ago. And she understands that in her cosmetic skincare line, many of those skincare products are oil-based. She wants them to be smaller, more absorbable to go through the skin, especially on her anti-aging. So we're very excited about starting to work with Dr. Denese next week. And we have 3 CBD contracts, and we think we'll have 8 or 9 more before the end of this year for next year, each one worth about $1 million. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Rick. We have time for one question. Alex, what question would you have?
Rick, if the company is already a public company, why are you raising like money privately or?
Yeah. So as you guys probably know, I can't really be talking in public about any type of an offer. The SEC doesn't allow that. So I'd ask you all to please get in touch with me. We do need funds. We are pivoting. We're going to grow our business from to a multi-million-dollar business instantly with the contracts we have. We need funds to do all of this. And so I'm happy under an NDA to explain how we're raising the money and what the deal is.
Great. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. Our next presenter is Silas of WaveTech. If Silas, you can go ahead and show your slides. Love to hear your pitch as well.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Silas. So I'm the CFO and a board member of WaveTech. And at WaveTech, we're actually disrupting a world powered by batteries. So we are currently raising a total of $10 million in the form of a convertible note with a 20% discount to the next round and the valuation cap at $110 million. So we already raised a bit more than 8 million. And you will also see towards the end of this presentation why this is actually a very interesting deal for all of us. So when we look into why we can do what we do, then that's the best illustrated by what happened back then with the Atlanta airport when it was down. Because at the end, that was due to some insufficient battery backup. And the cost for Delta Airlines alone were like $50 million on additional fuel costs. And that nicely illustrates 2 points. On one point, the problem that people face or companies face with batteries, because they lack storage capacity, they are not reliable, they are not efficient, but they also have no real-time insight into the true operating conditions. Almost all of the operations are still done manually and not automated, and all of that leads to high and increasing cost. But it also shows nicely that we could have prevented it with our technology. So what is WaveTech and why should you care then? So at WaveTech, we actually have 2 product lines with industry-changing outcome. So we have a hardware solution that you can see here in the middle of the screen that doubles the battery lifespan and triples the usable capacity over the prolonged lifespan. But it also reduces electricity consumption by around 20% and electricity costs by the same amount. And that's what we typically combine with the software solution, where we monitor and automate a lot of battery conditions, network conditions, and where we can also do a bit of predictive maintenance. But the product that you see here, which is globally patented with more than 85 patents, that's our key technology. So it's a device that you put on top of a battery, and then when the battery is being charged, it sends some pulses throughout the battery, and these pulses actually accelerate the electrochemical processes that you have within batteries. So the ions are moving faster. And by doing that, we actually double the battery lifespan and triple the usable capacity. So on top to the current customer base, we have more than 30 large enterprise customers in test and more than 10,000 devices out in the field. We also recently filed 2 more patents and are currently in the process of filing 5 more. So what are the product benefits? And so typically we save with the key technology 40 to 50% of the overall operational cost. When we combine it with our battery monitoring site management system, that can be increased to 50 to 60%. But then on top, we also provide some very nice environmental benefits, especially as you can see in the energy storage space, where we have tremendous CO2 emission savings. But also in other industries, it's typically somewhere from 20 to 30 to 40% of the overall CO2 emission. So our go-to-market strategy is we currently focus on the areas where we have the highest benefit, which is typically telecommunication, especially off-grid sites that are not connected to the grid. But then it's also energy storage is the motive market and the UPS market. So when we take this small fraction of our overall addressable market and put it into perspective what this could actually mean for us in terms of revenue, then based on the current customer pipeline and the current targeted number of products, on an annual basis, that could be a $400 million revenue potential. If we take into consideration the overall potential with these customers, then we are getting close to $3 billion. And again, if we take just 10% of this small fraction of the overall market, that's more than $5 billion. So you see some of our customers here. Extremely interesting, definitely Maxis Communication, because it's our first tier 1 telecommunication customers. And then also Schneider Electric, where we're currently working on becoming a technology provider for them. And they are the world market leader for data center and UPS systems. But even more interesting are the ones that we are currently having in process of testing our technology, because they are even bigger. So typically, that's a sales process that you see here with a tier 1 operator. Best case, it takes 8 months. Usually it takes 12 months. In some cases, it can be also up to 14 months. So typically, we start with scoping the customer solution, identifying the best solution for them, testing the product, which takes like 3 to 6 months, going into the contractual phase, which is another month to 2 months, and then we start deploying the technology. What's important to mention here, with small to medium-sized customers, that gets reduced to 2 to 4 months. So 2020 was kind of the first commercial year with revenues. We did a bit more than $3 million in revenues. Last year, a bit more than 10 million. This year, we target 16. And the next year, we are going towards 30 million in total. So who is WaveTech and what kind of experience do they have? Let me focus on a few people here. Doug, he is the CEO, successful serial entrepreneur. He personally invested more than $5 million in the business and also participated with a bit more than $1.5 million in the current round. And then we have Osmond. So he is a world-class operator. He used to manage companies with more than $1 billion in turnover, also participated in a couple of exits. And one of that was actually also in a couple of $1 billion range. And then we have Dr. Boris Monohoff. So he is one of the world's leading battery scientists that really have some deep insight into battery legislation and energy legislation in the US. So it's great to have him in the team. So we are a globally operating company, headquartered in the US, but also with offices in Europe. So let me focus briefly on some of the investment highlights and terms, especially when you look into exit multiples. Typically, it's somewhere in the area of 20 to 40 times revenue, but it's also on some areas up to a couple of 100 times. So what's the current offering? The current offering is a convertible note with a 20% discount to the valuation of the next round, 110 million cap and 4% interest. The interesting part is that we recently signed a term sheet with an institutional investor at a substantially higher valuation than the current cap. So we believe it's a very interesting opportunity for investors, and we definitely would love to have all of you on board, and looking forward to answer any question that you might have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Silas. Let's start with Alex. Alex, what questions did you have?
I think everything was really clear, and I didn't have like a question.
Great, thanks. Ansh, how about you?
Yes, thanks all. So Silas, right? That's how you say your name, Silas?
You can say Silas or Silas, so I'm actually used to both.
No, I just wanted to be very, aware about how I pronounce it. But so Silas, this is very interesting, right? I mean, you're doing something in battery technology, but it's not like increasing the storage of the battery, because the market need is the battery storage, right? Because that's what I think Tesla's and all the battery companies are selling on, right? They're making a ton of money on the storage, but still there is a value add here, right? But my one question is, I didn't saw the exact number. How much are you seeking in this round, and what round is this?
Yeah, it's a total of 10 million US dollar, and we brought in so far a bit more than 8 million.
And this is, what round is it? Seed?
I would say technically it's somewhere between Series A and B, so it's more a growth round.
That's So that's where I was confused. I was looking at your roadmap, and this company has been founded 2003, and since 20 years, I'm wearing an investor hat. In 20 years, you have clients. I see your client base as well. So at this time, you might be thinking of exit strategy, right? Why you are thinking about raising strategy? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So it's, of course, it has been quite some time, but it also has been like, so typically material science takes like 15 years, right? From initial conceptual stage to product. But of course, that's relatively long, the way how it took us. So we see right now, because we commercially, we are, I would say, it's the beginning of what we can achieve. And there are a couple of other products that we want to bring to the market, where we would see that we really want to also reap the benefits of what we put in there. So we definitely look into exit strategies, which are more on the areas of listing the company on the stock exchange, so that some of our older shareholders can exit at the time which is convenient for them, but that we can kind of continue staying with the company and moving it to the next stage.
Okay. Makes sense. I think as if maybe more details required, I will get to the numbers and whatnot, the traction piece. So my last question, Silas, is I see that you are in different countries. So you are in Middle East, you are in Europe, you are in North America. How is that? What is the status of all these geographies?
Yes, so it's so we have most of our customers are actually in the US. So it's 90% of the customers that we have is US based. The remaining 10% is currently European. But most of, well, a lot of the bigger tier 1 telecom operators we are currently working with, they are actually spread all over the world, but mostly in Southeast Asia, Africa, and the US. And then the team is mostly divided between Europe and the US. So we have the science team that's based in Europe, the software team that's based in the US, and then engineering, again, that's based in, or assembly that's based in Germany. So it's, the teams are split between the different areas.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you guys for your questions. It's been a good session today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Any closing thoughts there, Alex? Any other questions you had for the group as well?
Yes, thanks for having me, and I want to congratulate all of the companies for the great work that you're doing, and just keep on doing it.
Great, thanks. Ansh, any closing thoughts there on your side?
I mean, this was fantastic and great experience listening to new ideas and kind of asking questions and thinking like if it's going to be that particular, I mean, that company is going to make or break things up. So I'm always looking for that component. So I'm glad that I mean, I was part of this discussion, and thank you, Hall and team. Fantastic. This is great initiative.
Great, thank you, Ansh. And I want to thank people in the audience as well. If you have an investor interest in these deals, we'll follow up with you afterwards by email to see what questions you have, and we can make introductions to these companies also. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank all of our presenters. They did a great job, and I want to thank our investors as well for asking great questions also. And we'll be back again next month with another round of deals, and appreciate everybody sharing their time with us today. And with that, we'll go ahead and close it out now. Have a good one, guys.
Good day, everyone.